just a bit outside.
Welcome into another episode of Nate Hit the Foul Pole. On today's episode, we are going to have a guest host in Eric Are-Dee-Tee from Barstool. Zach, you excited for this?
Oh, yeah, I'm very excited. He has a lot of great opinions, so definitely excited to hear from him.
All right, we'll get right into it. All right, so before we get into our interview with Eric from Barstool, we want to go through some recent cuts from spring training camp, a little Orioles news. Zach, I believe you have the list up.
I do. So I'm only going to go through the notable names, people that people might know. So we did have Dean Kramer, Ryan McKenna, Adley Rutschman, Marcos Diplan, Brady Rogers, Michael Rucker, Brandon Bailey, Zach Lowther, Rylan Bannon, and Mason McCoy. So a few big names in there. Obviously, Adley Rutschman, Rylan Bannon are all interesting names. Who were you really surprised at? Was there anyone you looked at it and you were like, "Wow, this is not what I expected"?
I don't really necessarily think there was a guy that struck me. Look at guys like Zach Lowther. I think the front office really likes him, and he's one of the holdover prospects from the Duquette era that they're like. I mean, they even openly talked about it. Like, Sig loves his spin rate. Mike Elias said they were targeting him in the Astros draft. So, to see him get sent down early, I'm not necessarily surprised by it, but I think he's kind of on the radar to possibly make his debut this season. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Probably not too early, maybe, August, maybe September, something like that. But I could see him making his debut, maybe around when Kramer does.
Yep.
Another guy that kind of surprised me, I guess, were the 2 Rule 5 picks, which we'll get into a little bit later with Eric, but definitely surprising to see them get returned to their teams because we thought they were locks. It was just very surprising. They were both pitching very well. I mean, Brandon Bailey had a 2.25 ERA in 2 games and 4 innings. He had a 1.25 WHIP. He only had given up 3 hits over 4 innings. That's pretty solid numbers. Didn't strike out a lot of guys, but that's pretty solid numbers to get returned this early. Like, a lot of the guys you see get returned this early are guys are going to be in the minor leagues and don't really have a shot at the major league roster, like a Malcolm Canelo or an Adley Rutschman. So yeah, just kind of surprising to see those guys return because they were pitching pretty well.
Yeah, I think it's a less of an indictment on them. I mean, you just mentioned Bailey's numbers. I think it's more trust in the veteran guys that they already have. Guys like Wade LeBlanc, Tommy Malone, they think can already kind of slide in there in the rotation. Maybe they'll put Malone in the bullpen. We'll see. But obviously, they think they have enough depth, and I think I was very surprised by those moves. And not really too surprised on the cuts to the minor league camps. But yeah, like you said, the Rule 5 guys, which we'll get into later, they were surprising.
Going back to what you said on Wade LeBlanc, I saw him pitch the other day on TV. This was like one of his first starts for the Orioles, and he really threw a lot of quality strikes, which is something that we haven't really seen from a lot of Orioles pitchers. It was very refreshing to see. He threw a lot of quality strikes and got a lot of guys out, and he had great control. Doesn't have great velocity, but his stuff is good enough, I think, to be maybe a 3 or 4 in this rotation this year. So, Elias probably wanting to open up spots for veterans like him, and like you said, Tommy Malone, who I'm not too high on. Cole Stewart as well could be a possible guy to make the rotation now with Bailey and Rucker out of the equation. But definitely going to look to their veteran presence a little bit more. There was kind of a veteran presence last year in the pitching rotation with Wojciechowski and all those guys. So I think they want to help their young pitchers with veterans, and they want to have a good mix.
Maybe this is me being like immature or whatever, or like missing Vine. But whenever I hear the name Tommy Malone, I think of the Water Malone Vine.
Oh, yeah, the Water Malone. Oh man, I don't. That's a bad memory to have come up there. Water Malone. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting one. But
sidebar.
For sure. But yeah, so that's pretty much all the Orioles news we've had for in the past couple days here. Orioles will play tomorrow on Saturday on TV as well as Sunday, so go check them out if you can. Sunday is actually on Masson. You can watch them on the Rays Network tomorrow. So yeah, it should be interesting to see a little more of the pitching side. I definitely like to see a lot of the younger guys and the veterans. I like to see what they're doing right now. Dean Kramer is a lot of fun to watch on TV, so should be exciting this weekend. So we're welcoming on in Barstool Are-Dee-Tee. You may know him from Twitter at DT22. He talks all about the Orioles, writes for the Orioles on Barstool. And you might know him because he's always throwing out his great opinions, and we have him here on the show, so pretty excited to have you. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Happy to have you, Eric. Just wanted to plug the tailgate before we get into the Orioles-related questions. Mm-hmm. If you could tell the listeners all about it, where they could get tickets.
Yeah, so Jimmy's Famous Seafood, they're known for their crab cakes, obviously, but they've started to kind of change the game with these tailgates, as they call them. They're not normal tailgates. It's an absolute party. They've been a lot of fun. I'm not even a Ravens fan, and I've been to some of them. They're tons of fun. And for opening day, I kind of was talking to Johnny, one of the owners, and he threw out to me a couple weeks ago the thought that Cal Ripken could come. I said, there's no way Cal would do anything like that. Ended up, of course, they got him and Billy Ripken. They made that announcement this morning. They're going to be there at the tail. So I gave Johnny the idea to name it the Tailgate, using the 8 instead of the tailgate. So I'm taking full credit for that. Johnny called me a genius. It's not a big deal. But yeah, that's going to be on opening day, which I believe is the 26th. I don't know the exact date because it's at a different place. It's closer to Orioles to Camden Yards. It's which, and I don't have it off the top of my head. You can get tickets on their Facebook. They have a link. If you go to the Jimmy's Famous Seafood website, they've got it. And I'm sure the link is floated out there on Twitter, but I would get your tickets. I know I talked to him at 8:15 this morning, and he said they had sold 40 tickets in the 7 minutes that the announcement after Cal and Billy was out. So tickets are going to go, and I think the prices are going to go up. I want to say tomorrow, Saturday. I'm not sure though, but I know Matt. I think you said you got your tickets already.
Yeah, I left and I did the tailgate only because I already had tickets for opening day.
Yep.
So they were like $55, which is, I mean, for what you get for these tailgates, like I've done like 3 or 4 Ravens ones. It's it's awesome. Like you definitely get your money's worth for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, they've never done an Orioles one, I don't believe, but I've gone to different bars on opening day, bounced around the city. I mean, you spend $55. I mean, in a heartbeat, And so, so there, you get your drinks. It's going to have awesome food. It'll be a good time. And, hopefully, I think now we're going to see an Orioles win. Garrett Cole couldn't stop giving up home runs yesterday. And now freaking Aaron Judge has his broken ribs. So, I think things are setting up nicely for the O's.
I got to say, I'm impressed you guys got Cal Ripken because not exactly a guy who likes to come on and do a lot of stuff Orioles related. I mean, interacts with the Ironbirds a little bit, but definitely not too in the public scene anymore, but I'm very, very excited about that. I'll definitely be getting tickets as well. So definitely come out to the tailgate.
That's another thing. Cal doesn't do public appearances. He doesn't, and he's going to be there. He's going to be there for 2 hours at the event. So he doesn't just do this. And Jimmy's is also partnering with the Ironbirds. So I believe they're either going to have a stand or like a kiosk type thing at the Ironbird Stadium. So if you're ever up that way, and I've never been there, I've wanted to get up to Aberdeen for a while, and probably depending on where Adley starts out, I may be there a couple games. So yeah, if you're up in Aberdeen or checking out some of the young guns, go grab a crab cake and then head on down to Camden Yards. So.
Yeah, just to mention on Adley today, I think they said he was starting at Single A Frederick, so he won't be at Aberdeen, but.
I've been off the radar, so I saw that they reassigned him, and Frederick. Yep. That's all right. That'll be cool too. Frederick's a good time. So.
Hopefully, a mid-season promotion to Bowie. So we'll see about that. Mm-hmm. If he's performing, which he should.
Yeah. I think that's probably the projection that he's gonna. Hopefully he's not down in Frederick too long. But yeah.
Yep.
Frederick seems like the right spot.
Yeah. So I want to get into a little bit of talking Orioles with you, Eric. Let's first start on Orioles trades. I know you really want Trey Mancini to stay. Is there any trade package you would take for Trey Mancini?
If they can get, a couple, and it can't just be like one guy. If they can get 2, see, I just don't. if they couldn't get anything for Jonathan VR, a guy who is he's not old at all, and I get that his salary, before arbitration, it's not the cheapest. But I mean, what did he steal 40 bases last year? He played in every game. If they could only get, a washing machine for him, basically, I don't think they're going to be able to get a very good return for Trey. And again, if you talk about Trey, and the thing is like, oh, well, he is older. He's not 23, 24. I think he's 27. So it's like, I think that I think he means more to the Orioles than he would to any other team. Like, if he went to the Reds, I don't think that he would have the impact on the team that he has here. And that's why, like, I find it hard to believe that a team would trade 2 top 10 guys or 2 top 20 guys, to get him, just because he does kind of bounce around. It's not really his fault. His age, and I know he does have a few years left on his contract, but I don't know if there's a trade package, because again, I don't see any team trading their top guy or a top 5 guy to get him.
Yeah, it's possible that if he gets traded, that his value kind of goes down. Maybe he bats lower in the order, doesn't put up the numbers he does in Baltimore. But, yeah, I think the Orioles are definitely going to be looking around for that. I was thinking the Astros are a possible team that could be takers of Mancini. They could always use to add another big bat in their lineup. I mean, I would like to see guys like maybe Abraham Toro or Friedis Nova, 2 top 10 guys in the organization, both infielders, which the Orioles desperately need in the minor leagues. So, maybe a possible package, but if you don't think they can get 2 top 10s, they probably won't. Like you said, not much for Jonathan VR, so I guess the Orioles will be taking calls, but not necessarily making any moves anytime soon.
Yeah, and I think that's the right thing to do. If someone calls them and they do get a package that blows them away, like, it wouldn't surprise me if he is traded at the deadline. Again, just so they can kind of get some return and get some of the younger guys in the system. But I don't think they're going to trade him just to trade him. Which I mean, we even saw Dan Duquette do that, or not do that with a couple guys. Same thing with Michael Givens last year. Like, they're not going to trade guys just so they can say, oh well, we traded them for these prospects. If the prospects are crap, then it doesn't make sense to do that. So, and the Astros trade. You just saying the Astros, talking about trading some guys. I know that's obviously hypothetical, but it just spawned on me. It's going to be interesting to see if they do try and make any moves, because they don't have draft picks coming up for the next 2 years. It's like, do you think they hold on to their guys now because they know they're not going to be able to restock that prospect pool? So I don't know. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what would you think? Like, say they don't trade him. What do you think an extension looks like? Just kind of spitballing for Mancini.
So, like, one guy that did sign an extension and that kind of jumped to mind last year, I think it was last year, was Randall Grichuk. Like, he's a good player. I think he's like a career 240, something like that. Like, and I think he signed, I think it was 5 years, $52 million. Mm-hmm. It's not, that's not a bad. It's not a bad deal. Maybe they want to go somewhat shorter again because of his Trey's age. But again, I think Trey means more to this team than he would any other team. Not even on the field, the off the field stuff. They promote the heck out of him. He's either hanging out with Mo, or he's doing another charity event, or he's at a hospital. And I have heard some people say, like, them signing him to an extension is kind of a thank you to the fans. Thanks for sticking around. We know it's been a crappy couple of years. And it's a guy that it seems like everyone loves. Even when Chris Davis was good, I still think he had some Orioles fans who didn't like him. Same thing with Manny. There were definitely Orioles fans who didn't like Manny, and I don't think I've ever met an Orioles fan who didn't like Trey. Like, again, I know him on a personal level. I've known him since 2015, and just the things that he's done for, I have a special needs brother. The things he's done for him, stuff with Mo, just he's a much better. He's a very good baseball player, and he's a much better person than he is a baseball player, and that's you don't get to say that about many guys. But I think somewhere in that 5 years, 50. I mean, if they came to him tomorrow with that deal, I don't think he's turning down $10 million a year.
Yeah, I agree. I love what you said about him being marketable and all the stuff he does in the community because he is the Orioles face, and the Orioles don't really have another face of the franchise right now. I mean, we talk about all the young guys like Austin Hayes and, of course, Adley Rutschman and all the other young guys, but they aren't really faces of the franchise. Everyone knows Trey. People all around the league know Trey. He's great in the community, like you said, so I would love to see him be here for the next maybe 3 or 4 years, and maybe even here when we're winning again. I don't know, but I agree. I like what you said about being a thank you to the fans because they are sticking around, and Trey's a fan favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I met up with him at the Orioles caravan thing they did with him in Annapolis, and it was him, Mike Bordick, and Ryan McKenna. And McKenna had a line of maybe 15 people. Bordick had maybe 20, 25. And Trey's was, I mean, it was a couple hundred people deep. And obviously, again, with Bordick and Ryan McKenna, not taking anything away from them, but Trey is he's the face, like you said, he's the face of the franchise. And I think he's the perfect guy to build around, from everything from homegrown talent to every quote he says where he's like, hey, I want to be here. Like, I want to. I mean, you go out on a Saturday night, you'll probably see him out in the community somewhere, The guy loves Baltimore. He wants to be here. And he's made that very open. And it's not just, he's not saying it just to say it. I think he genuinely loves Baltimore and wants to be the guy. He has Adam Jones' locker. He wants to be the Adam Jones of when they were winning here in 2014 and 16 and stuff like that. So I think bringing him back would be – I think that may get some of the people who were upset about the Davis deal, that may get them going, okay, this is a good move. This is a move that we can get behind and maybe we'll come to a couple more games to watch Trey. Because, again, it's not like he's a slouch. I mean, the guy hit, 35 home runs last year? Like, he was I think he almost had 100 RBIs and batted, I think, like 297, something like that. So, again, I think, and whatever deal they give him, I think, or if they give him, I think he deserves it.
Yeah, I was telling Zach off air, I was totally for trading him at the beginning of last year, and after the trade deadline, I kind of came around to the fact that I do want him extended. I think he means that much to this community, to the team, to the fans. And there's always that one guy, a Freddie Freeman with Atlanta, Anthony Rizzo with the Cubs. There's always that one guy who sticks through the entire rebuild. Mm-hmm. So I really think he could be that guy. But
I think if they did trade him, and again, I'm not saying it's a bad move, because again, if it's good for the team, you probably need to do it. So if it happens, it happens. But I think that is a move that will alienate a lot of people. I think that's one that people will say, I'm not going to watch a game this year. I'm not going to buy any Orioles stuff. And I think some people will be pissed at that, rightfully so.
And that happened after the Machado trade. A lot of people kind of jumped ship. They were like, I can't handle this. I'm going to go to a team that has a winning culture. And, obviously we've seen a lot more people, jump ship maybe to the Nationals or the Yankees or whoever's close by. But, I think Trey, he's just a guy who really means a lot, so definitely needs to come back.
Yep.
So, Eric, what about any spring training standouts that you've seen this year? Obviously, Chris Davis is mashing the heck out of the ball. He's walking every at bat. Are there any under the radar guys? Any guys you didn't expect that pop out to you?
Obviously, the Chris Davis stuff, and the first thing I'll say on that is obviously, I'm hyping him up. I'm gassing the hell out of him up online, and obviously I like to see him do well. He's on my favorite team. I want him to do well. But there are people who are the blog I wrote for Barstool. I can't believe Chris Davis is going to win MVP and come back Player of the Year. There are people who are like, oh, come on, man, calm down. It's only spring. It's we know. Again, it's a joke. How we're going about it. This, just give us this. But even there were some Oriole fans who were like, well, we know this isn't sustainable into the season. Yeah, dude, we know. You don't have to be. You're so cut and dry. It's Twitter. Have fun. And it drives me crazy to see people well, actually, in 2017, his spring training numbers were this. Yeah, we get it, dude. They're just the people online. They just can't take a joke. So that's all I want to say on that. Pat Valaika, I think. I mean, what do you have? 3 home runs, I think, on the spring training season. He's played well. Again, he could walk into my house right now and I wouldn't be able to recognize him. But the guy's mashing right now. I think he's playing pretty well. And then I think just some of the pitchers, or hell, even all the pitchers. Wojo's he's pitching well. Means doesn't, I know he's got kind of hit around, but everything, because all the games are on TV or radio. Everything I'm hearing is like, oh, he got hit around, but he was working on his curveball, or that's all he was throwing.
That's his job. That's what he's trying to do.
If John Means gets out of camp healthy, that's a win for me, and I'm happy with it. But yeah, even like David Hess, I think a guy who again was 1-10 last year. I think it was a 7 ERA. Like a guy like that who probably doesn't get a spring training invite with a lot of other teams. He's going to get a chance here. And the big story with him was he went to that John Means P3, was it? Is it P3?
Yeah, St. Louis, I want to say.
Yep. So he's kind of, he's followed that workout regimen. And I think he's even the stuff I've seen from him, he's looked pretty good. But I think out of everyone, it's probably been Valleca and then, the pitchers who aren't getting rocked like we thought they would. And again, it's spring training. I mean, when the season starts, Wojo may get his rocked, and David Hess may turn into what he was last year. But from what I'm seeing right now, they look like, they're making strides. So those are kind of the things that stand out for me. I think Richie Martin, too. I think he's played pretty well from what I'm seeing. So, yeah.
So we got an option at AAA today, but Dean Kramer really impressed me personally.
Yeah.
Really live fastball, good breaking stuff. He got hit around a little bit, but he did get a lot of strikeouts too. He was just kind of nasty. I mean, I haven't seen too much of Dean Kramer, him being in the minors. You don't really get to see too much of him, but he was really nasty in his TV debut, I guess you could call it. And I'm looking forward to him this season for sure.
Yeah, and he's a guy who, again, when he came over, I think yesterday or 2 nights ago or something when they played. They had, Diaz. They had Diaz, Kramer, and Rylan Bannon. Or maybe it was yesterday, all in the game, and they were saying, I think those are the three. Well, Zach Pop got Tommy John, and then the other infielder who I can't remember his name. I see his face. They were like, those were the three guys that they got for the Machado deal. So they were saying, it's kind of neat that now we're all seeing them in the same game together. But yeah, Kramer, because I mean, the book on Kramer was, he's a strikeout machine. He led the minors in strikeouts. I think strikeouts per game the season that they traded for him. So yeah, he's another guy who I'm very excited. I mean, if they can get him going with Hunter and Givens and some of those other guys, they are going to have some absolute, and Miguel Castro and guys like that. They're going to have some flamethrowers in the bullpen.
So the other guy in the Machado trade, I just wanted to bring it up, was Breivik Valera, and he's now in the Padres organization. He's kind of floated around.
He was with the Yankees
and
a bunch of other teams, yeah.
Definitely not one of the good pieces of the Machado trade. I think kind of a throw-in by Duquette there at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, for sure, all those guys you mentioned have done really well. I wanted to talk about Pat Valleca a little bit more as kind of the overall utility competition in camp right now. I mean, there's a lot of guys, Ramon Urias, Stevie Wilkerson, Valleca, and Martin, like you mentioned, too. Who do you like to come out as maybe one or two of the utility players we're going to see on the Major League team this year?
It wouldn't surprise me to see Stevie back. I guess wouldn't they have to put him back on the 40-man because they DFA'd him? Mm-hmm. Yep. Again, that's a guy that Hyde seems like he's comfortable with. I mean, he seems like Buck's Ryan Flaherty, where he's going to hit 220, maybe 230 if we're lucky. But it's like, hey, you need him to play center field. Yeah, exactly. He can do whatever. I think Valleca is going to make an argument that hey, he belongs there, and Valleca's almost doing like the what Trey did a couple years ago, where he's going to hit and he's going to make you make a decision. Because it seems like now he's going to be on a team. If it's not the Orioles, it's going to be someone else because of what he's shown this spring training. So I guess that 26 roster spot, is probably going to go to a utility guy. And I Richie Martin, you mentioned. I think I'd like to see him get consistent at bats every day. Like I'm all for him starting out at Norfolk, and again, I want to see him get 400, 500 at bats, just because I want to see if his bat can come along. I mean, the play he made the other night, he is a major league glove, and we knew that coming into last year. It's just the bat, and I mean, he did get hot the last month, this season, but just got to show a little more consistency. So I mean, right now, I would say Valleca, and unless Wilkerson again just kind of crafts the bed. and literally can't buy a hit, then he may be on the outside looking in. But I would say probably those two.
Yeah, Andrew Velasquez is another guy who's really put on a show, and someone I didn't know who could play center field, but he can play short, second, center field. He's been everywhere, basically, and at really good positions, and he's been playing well. He's been hitting the ball well. I didn't like his minor league numbers at all. I definitely didn't like when they DFA'd Urena for him, but he's actually pretty solid, and I don't know if this will carry over to the regular season, but he's another guy I could see being one of two of the utility candidates on the team for sure.
I could definitely see that too, and yeah, I mean he's again a new guy like that. Maybe he's a spark plug for a couple months or a week, a couple weeks, something like that, and gets the guys going up in Baltimore.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jace Peterson was kind of like that, for a little bit last year and the year before that. Just kind of that guy play every couple days. Could play the outfield positions in the corners, not very well, but and then he could also play third base and second. So maybe Velasquez takes a little bit of that role this year. So I want to move over to what happened today, and they sent Brandon Bailey and Michael Rucker back to their original teams, which was the Astros and the Cubs, respectively. So I want to know what you think about that. Rule 5 picks, I think we all thought were kind of locks for the team, and then Elias came out today and said, they want to open up some 40-man spots. So I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I kind of like the move, and again, I think it also just kind of goes to show the mindset of the team. Like what year was it? Was it 2017? I think when they had Cortez Jr. They had was it 2 or 3 Rule 5 guys on the major league roster?
I believe it was 2.
It was Nestor Cortez and I can't think of the other guy. Was it
Pedro Araujo? It was Pedro Araujo.
Yes, that guy. God, oh man, yeah. Now I know I can't remember his name. But I mean, that was a team that was trying to compete. And they were trying to hold on to these guys. And to me, it just seems like it's a totally different mindset where maybe Elias has already been like, you know what? I would rather go with our homegrown guys, or, maybe he's seen something out of some of the guys in spring training. And he said, I've seen enough. I don't, there's no need to make a 26, we're gaining a roster spot coming into the season. There's no reason to lock up 2, And again, and my thought is maybe, because Duquette may have had that feeling like, oh, well, if we're going to be bad, we might as well just keep them on there. And Elias is like, no, I want to be able to trot more guys up. Maybe that makes it so Keegan Aiken can come up in a couple of weeks, or, like Dean Kramer can come up and guys like that. And it's not just absolutely handcuffing the team. So I'm okay with it in a couple of years if we look back and it's like, oh crap, I can't believe we let that guy go. Then it's kind of you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But I mean, I don't see it being a big loss right now. And again, I'm kind of happy they did it now because and it also may be kind of a motivational, again, because a guy like Keegan Aiken or someone like that, maybe like he knew the 2 Rule 5 guys were probably going to make the team and had to stay on there. Now he's thinking, you know what? Maybe I can make it out of camp. Maybe I can't, maybe Kramer, so just some of the other bullpen guys are going, you know what? Now, maybe it lights a fire under him and it gets him going. So, I don't know. I'm all right with it. I'm not losing any sleep over it.
Yeah, so we wanted to kind of end with one of the Twitter polls that you ran the other day. It was the most irrelevant franchise currently in baseball. I know this was talked about on Barstool Radio a little bit with KFC and Jared Carrabis, but in your opinion, and based off the poll, who do you think the most irrelevant team is, and we can kind of discuss this?
So the poll ended, I'm scrolling through, the poll ended, I think earlier today.
Okay.
And the final tally, let me find it, where is it? The final tally, it was, where is this? All right, so 972 votes. 33% said Mariners, 31% said Pirates, 21% said Orioles, 15% was others. Okay. My first thought, obviously you saw it on Barstool Radio, KFC said he thought the Rangers were the most irrelevant. Yeah. I didn't think that at all. And Jared kind of had the same point. Like it was either the Mariners or the Pirates. Just because, like, when was the last time you sat down and thought about the Pirates?
Yeah,
that would be
not recently.
Exactly, and it's like, they don't have any high-level prospects. It's not like they're signing anyone big. they have their nice stadium up there. But even I think my vote would have been the Mariners, just because they haven't made the playoffs since 2001, and again, they're on the West Coast. It's not like they have the primetime games. But see, it's weird because like they do sign big name guys. They had a Nelson Cruz, they had Robinson Cano, they had some of these guys, and it's just no one gives a crap about them. And it may be different in Seattle. They may be saying that about the Orioles. But I don't know. People said the Reds too. I thought about them, but with Bauer being in the news lately. They had Puig. They've had some talented guys. Joey Votto is always, popping up. People even said the Marlins, but I said I think Jeter takes them out of that conversation because every couple months he'll have something coming up and he'll bring them back in. I think it's a coin flip between the Mariners and the Pirates. I think in my head I'd probably go. I think I'd go Mariners.
Yeah, I was actually one of the people who commented Marlins, and you replied with the owner being Derek Jeter. That keeps them in the news. I said that because really no one comes to their games. There's so many other things to do in Miami. There's not really a big baseball market there. Same with Tampa Bay, but obviously they have a much better team. They never really signed any big-name guys anymore. They traded Yelich and Stanton for peanuts. They're pretty irrelevant to me. I definitely never think about them, but Matt, what do you think?
The only thing is, like still, when I think of the Marlins and I am older, I think of the World Series. Like, I can remember vividly them winning 2 World Series, and it's like,
2003.
Yeah, and then it's like the Mariners have never made a World Series. They haven't made the playoffs since 2001. The Pirates were like, okay, they had the wild card games, and they made Johnny Cueto drop that ball and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, but again, I can see where you can argue the Marlins and. If Jeffrey Lurie was still the owner, I think was he the owner before? If he was still the owner, it's like probably. And now someone else mentioned the Marlins and they said the statue yesterday, and it's like they even got rid of the statue. They moved it outside the ballpark, so it's like again, So I guess that it's working in your favor. It's making them even more irrelevant. So I don't think the Marlins is a bad answer. I'm trying to figure out if I want to blog it or not. I
thought they made a pretty good counterpoint on that little radio segment. Carabas, he said like the Rangers are really popular, like locally.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I said the Pirates is they don't really have like a rival. Like you could even somewhat argue the Mariners have the Blue Jays because all those Western Canada fans come in for those games, but. Yeah. I mean, it's such a beautiful ballpark out in Pittsburgh, and, like, nobody goes.
Yeah, and all my cousins are from Pittsburgh up that way. Even they texted me, and they were like, it's the Pirates. They were like, my cousins are big baseball fans, and they're like, I hate this team more than I've ever hated any team ever. Like, because they're like, the owner, like, openly doesn't try. Like, I think their highest contract they've ever given out was, like, I think it was Liriano, and it was, like, $45 million. And they're like, it's just so, like, they've just mailed it in, and the owner's like, yeah, whatever. So again, I'm like, okay, maybe I can kind of see that. So, I mean, it was definitely interesting, and to get at least everyone's opinion, on that. I think it was a good question. I enjoyed their radio segment. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a good question. You might be converting me to saying the Pirates here because I don't know. You make some good points, but they do have that nice ballpark, like you said. So there is that. There is that.
The only thing I didn't like people saying, the good ballpark, because I'm like, shit, that's all the Orioles have right now. Like, that doesn't.
Where's the warehouse, man?
I was kind of trying to go away from the ballpark, but because I think my one buddy's always like, if the first, like, anytime you talk to someone from Baltimore, it's like, oh, you got to go to Camden, the ballpark, and they're like, if that's the first thing you talk about, then it's like, it's not great.
You get to see great baseball when you go to.
Yeah. That's true.
So I want to finish up here, Eric, with your official predictions for the 2020 season. I know it's kind of tough to make a prediction right now, being only, about 2.5 weeks out from opening day, but just want to see what you're thinking for the season.
I mean, I think win-wise, I probably think they're going to be right around where they were last year. Maybe a couple wins more because the Yankees can't go 18-1. Was it 18-1 against them last year? Like they can't do that. They can't.
Like that.
They can't. They just like mathematically cannot do that.
No.
They just can't. And like the Red Sox are going to be worse. The Blue Jays are probably going to be a little bit better. Tampa's probably going to a couple games better. But if they win 50, what they win 54 last year. If they win 55, 56, 57, it won't shock me. I think they're still going to be right there with Detroit. Probably the Royals and the Marlins for that number one seed or the number one overall pick. But much like last year, I'm definitely excited for. I want to see a full season of Austin Hayes healthy. Again, wins don't mean it doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I want to see Trey perform well again. I want to see the pitchers hold up. If they're losing 6-5 and the team just beats them, it's like all right, that's fine. But if they're losing, like if they would have lost that Houston game last year when Santander spiked the ball into the ground, then it's like that's what'll drive you crazy. But if they lose 6-5 on, just didn't get him today. I'm not going to turn the TV off, mad. It's it's whatever. That's what's going to happen. This year is just all about. It's about the Dean Kramers. It's seeing if Diaz can stay healthy. It's seeing if Mountcastle, when he comes up, if he can translate that power. If you find a position, it's about maybe Chris Davis does have a little left in the tank and stuff like that. So I am interested in that and stuff like that. If Rio Ruiz is for real, that should have been the guy that surprised me in spring training. It's do they trade a guy like Michael Givens, which they probably should have traded 2 or 3 years ago. But it's can they move him for something now? And again, it's just let's just keep stocking this pond, and we'll probably have another draft watch party at Jimmy's, and we'll go crazy when they pick. If it's Hancock, if it's Torque, if it's
Torque.
Torque.
If it's who's they got Martinez from New Mexico State now, who's mashing. That's my prediction is I think they may be a couple games better. But again, if it lands on a top 3 pick or top 2 pick, obviously everyone it's all about Kumar Rocker right now. And again, I'll probably hit him up in his DMs again. I have reached out to him to see how he likes his crab cakes. He has not answered me. I actually did the same thing to Hancock a couple nights ago. So again, no answer. But Adley didn't answer either. And now we know how that went. Not my DMs. He did wish me a happy Thanksgiving, but when I comment on his Instagram, he likes it. So we're close. We're getting there.
Baby steps.
Exactly. I don't want to move too quick on him. So
For sure.
We certainly appreciate you coming on the show, Eric. Is there anything we can plug for you? Your Twitter account, your blog on Barstool? I got a blog up every day on Barstool. Eventually, during the season, we're gonna have more Orioles stuff. Trying to pump more MLB stuff out there. Just barstoolsports.com. My Twitter is at EDITTI22. I love mixing it up on there. You know that. And I'll be spouting off a lot and just having fun on Twitter, not taking Chris Davis's training too seriously. Sure. Love it. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it,
guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Appreciate having Eric on the show. It was a great conversation. Looking forward to what could be an exciting Orioles season. Not necessarily the best Orioles season, but we kind of went through a lot of it, a lot of big topics of the day, and, just something to look forward to.
For sure, yeah. It's going to be an interesting season and a lot of great insight there, so looking forward to it too.
As always, shoot us a follow over on our Twitter account at FoulPolePod. We're going to be doing some more extra innings episodes in addition to our regular episodes. Don't forget to rate and subscribe us on iTunes. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts. And we're on SoundCloud. And we will talk to you guys next week.